welcome to the inaugural edition of Kairos Radio. This is the Kairos Radio Show. I am your host, David Holland. I am happy to be kicking this show off today, of all days. It is a good day. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. And we have a lot of business to talk to. We got to cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. So just as this is the inaugural edition of the show, we are going to be a show that covers the important things, that covers things primarily dealing with preparation in finances, preparation for the world that is changing very quickly, very rapidly, with geopolitical craziness, with technology that's changing, governments that are changing. We are needing to be prepared, and this is a time to be prepared. Kairos, in short, just means an opportune time. Biblically speaking, it would mean a good season. It's a great season to do things. So this is not going to be a doom and gloom show. This is not going to be a show that is telling you everything is bad, the world is coming to an end, and let's run around with our hair on fire, or I don't have hair, so I would say maybe my hat on fire. But we're not going to do that here. We want real solutions to real problems really swiftly, because the time is short. Changes are happening very fast, even as we speak, and there's a lot of instability in the world. So we want to get to the point. Right now, we are, as a nation, facing a lot of problems in the Middle East. We are facing a war. We are facing an energy crisis, an energy crunch. If we were to look back in history as to what does this sound like, what does this time right now rhyme like? Right? Time doesn't, someone said that time doesn't repeat, or, life doesn't repeat, years don't repeat, things don't repeat, but they rhyme. History rhymes, I think was the gist of the saying. And that is what's happening right now. If we were to say, where have we been here before? This looks very familiar. We would be looking around, early February, late January, possibly mid-February of 2020. The world started crippling, started seizing up, if you will, under the auspices of control regarding COVID-19 and everything that was happening with it. So that was a problem then, and the world definitely had issues that it had to overcome. And those issues began probably locally in China, then spread to neighboring countries, then spread to Europe. I believe Italy was there. They began to have lockdowns. And so we began to hear rumblings. We began to see things happening, and it eventually arrived at our shores. So we are seeing that same thing as it regards to energy, as it regards to oil, shipping, all the things that are caught up in the economy that has to do with petroleum. It's well integrated into all of our lives, and it is going to have a very big impact. Not just higher gas prices, which are important, not just possibly lack of fuel to get where you need to go, which I believe will happen, especially around the world. But it will also involve difficult to get products, plastics, fertilizers, fuel, food. Everything is going to be very well integrated into this, and it will have, I believe, crippling consequences for America. And we can tell ourselves we're energy independent, which definitely, we are in much, much better shape than the rest of the world. But just like we can't see everything that happens, we didn't believe that COVID-19 would make it here and the world would shut down. Very, very few people saw it. And that's why everyone was fighting over toilet paper. That's why they were fighting over things at the grocery store. These things will happen. And so this show right now, we want to talk about how do we prepare specifically when it comes to finances. Because when that happens, you and I will see a longer term downtrend. We could potentially, and I think very probably, will see the death of the petrodollar. The The petrodollar is what gives America its status in the world. Our living standards, our greatness as a country, our ability to export inflation around the world or export currency around the world gives us the ability to run these large deficits we have. But if that were to change, we would be in very, very serious trouble. And I do absolutely believe that that is coming. And so we want to prepare everything according to that. There are other preparations you need to do. You should make sure you have a deep pantry. Make sure you have a way to get water where you need to, extra fuel. There's plenty of things that you can do, backup batteries. But primarily, we want to focus here on how do we prepare financially. My company that sponsors this program is Alpha Omega Gold. We help people prepare for the unexpected things in life using precious metals, using gold, silver, platinum, palladium, anything that's within investment grade metals. We also sell what's known in the industry as junk silver. Those things, pre-33 gold. You can get plenty of different products out there, but primarily we deal in investment grade metals that go into IRAs, 401ks. Generally, if you have funds that are available to be rolled over, to be transferred from a 401k IRA, you can do that tax-free, penalty-free. That rolls right into what's known as a self-directed IRA. Industry calls it a gold IRA, but it's indeed just a self-directed IRA. And if those funds are qualified, there's no taxes, no penalties, and you can put physical gold and silver, platinum, palladium within that account. So those for our company, we store our metals in Texas through the Texas Precious Metals Depository. It is located in Shiner, so that's not too far from Austin. So it's a great option for people. So that's how we prepare. But if we back up just a minute to look at where we are seeing the if I could put it in a meteorological kind of a setup, we are seeing the outer bands of the hurricane show up on the shores right now. Maybe you're in Florida, maybe you're in South Texas, the coast of Texas, maybe you're along South Padre Island or Corpus Christi or Galveston, and there's dark clouds in the distance. There are choppy waves starting to show up, and when the outer bands of the hurricane hit, there is very little time. If it's heading your direction, there's very little time to get prepared. I do believe that right now we are seeing those outer bands. We would hope that this would clear up. We would hope that there would be a peace agreement in the Middle East, that the Strait of Hormuz would open. But even if it opens today, there is a backlog. There are things that have been destroyed. There are liquid natural gas plants that supply very much needed, not only fuel, but fertilizers, plastics to the rest of the world. And those things were damaged. Those things have probably been set back many years as far as repair time and things of that nature. So we are looking at severe crisis disruptions and how do we prepare? Prepare your finances with gold and silver. That is the easiest way to take care of that. If you want to purchase it, you can do that as well by going to our website, which is ao.gold, and putting your information in there, and we will reach out to you. We are a no high pressure. We don't do high pressure sales. I frankly can't. I don't even know how to do high pressure sales. What I know how to do is to tell you and plead with you if necessary, or give you a really good reason why you need to do this and do this now. We are looking at a favorable market right now. There is supply of gold and silver available, precious metals, for people to purchase and put in there. There is enough out there right now to satisfy the needs for as many people that would line up in a short amount of time. However, that will be gone really quick if people begin to show up. In Asia right now, the China specifically, Singapore, there are people lined up around the blocks when the price dips to buy gold and silver. And that's just their average regular day citizens. Here in America, price goes up, all the Americans sell because it's a good time to sell. But you are transferring from a very, very good multi-thousand year history of store of value into a fiat currency, which is the dollars. And yeah, you need the dollars today to go buy some groceries, to pay some bills. But long term, that is not the way that it is designed to store that value. It will lose value through inflation, through everything. So while we don't give specific general advice financially, we are not financial advisors. We simply do one thing and do it well. That's precious metals. We are not a high sales. We don't charge a lot for products that you can only buy with us. The time's too short for that. I want to get as many people in the door. Biblically speaking, if I could put it in a quick story, this is Noah finishing the ship. The door is open. The animals are lining up. The storm clouds may be appearing on the horizon. And he's saying, you got a little bit of time. Maybe we've had 120 years to do this, but right now you've got hours, maybe a few days, possibly minutes, but get in line, get on board, take care of the business that you need to take care of before time runs out. So again, precious metals are going to be our easy way that we can protect our finances. It's going to be an easy way that we can lock in the value of what we have worked for, of what we have saved for, striven for, what our net worth or net value is. That is an easy way to lock away the value. Gold and silver, precious metals, what they do is they give you a store of value. And that store of value is not dictated by other men in the truest sense of the word. Once you hold a ounce of silver, let's say, or say an ounce of gold, the store of that value is determined on a universal scale or a worldwide scale. I can take that ounce of silver, that ounce of gold, and exchange it for goods and services anywhere in the world. So anywhere where that is going to be recognized, which if we go and look closely at every culture, every people group, every nation state, they are going to have a recognition of that as a store of value. It is not an American thing. It is not a South American thing. It's not an Australian thing, European, Chinese. It doesn't matter. We can see that central banks, which are the primary issuers of fiat currency, meaning the paper money, the stuff that has essentially no backing except for the good and faith and credit of that issuing party or that government, these central banks are loading up on much, much gold. Recently, we just had Turkey sell, Central Bank of Turkey sell a large portion of gold because their country is being severely impacted by the Strait of Hormuz closure and everything going on with Iran. So these central banks recognize, these countries recognize, the leadership recognizes this is the true store of value. So there's an old saying that says, I don't want to buy what the banks or the banking system or the financial system at large is selling. I want to buy what they are buying. So what are they buying? What are the heads, the leadership, the institutions at the very heart of the modern financial system? What are they buying? They're buying gold. They're buying silver in some cases. Silver is a little bit different. It has unique properties that make it extremely highly valuable for industry, for technology, especially the technology that we see right now. Batteries that go into missiles. Every time you see an explosion from a missile that the U.S. or Israel or one of the allied nations fire, that's going to be using quite a bit of silver in each one of those. That's silver that's not recoverable. Also, new solid state batteries that are being developed by Samsung and other companies. These are primarily using a lot more silver to make that happen. So, solar panels, you name it. There's plenty of industrial uses for this, and the U.S. just recently had silver be a strategic metal, meaning there is an importance to that metal on the scale of what does the United States government, what do they hold for value, what do they store for important times, what do they have a storage of, that if the world gets really sideways, that they have plenty of it in stock. So silver is now one of those things. So there are plenty of drivers in silver, as well as gold. But both of these together, and to a slightly lesser degree platinum and palladium will function with this as well. But we're overall just looking at a store of value. You need to store the value of what you have. If you have extra cash in the bank, if you have an old IRA or 401k, you're just letting sit there. Maybe you just have it held in just a money market, or just something that's just sitting there hoping it gets a few points of interest. Yeah, that you need to store that away. You have an opportunity right now at a good price point, because gold and silver have pulled back, but you are at a good price point to make that transition to get into something with storage of value. If we look historically, every fiat currency has died. And there's a funny timeline. Obviously, this is radio. I can't really show it to you, but there's a funny timeline that shows basically from left to right, going back hundreds of years of fiat currency development, and the timeline is based off of gold, and it shows the creation of that currency, and then it kind of holds to the gold standard, and then it just drops off and falls out. And then the next one comes along, does the same thing, and then drops off and falls out. And I don't have to tell you today that the dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. The fiat currency system gives us the illusion that we're getting wealthier, and the value of our house is going up, and we make more at work, or but at the end of the day, if you do a metals check, if you do a silver or a gold check on, what was minimum wage back, certain times. And on a later program, we'll get into the nuts and bolts and the nitty gritty of this. So stay tuned for that. It'll be an excellent show. I can give you real examples of what is the value of minimum wage right now. And I can tell you, even with forced minimum wages in places like California, New York, other areas where that minimum wage may be $25, and we're thinking, wow, that's a lot of money for someone who works in a sandwich shop or a coffee shop to make. That's nothing compared to what minimum wage used to be when paid in real money, and what that money would buy compared to today's value. So let's not be deceived as to what is true value, what holds true value, what stores that true value. I do believe gold and silver, that they are creations by God, who would intend for mankind to have a way to store their hard work. It's really hard if I, have a wheat harvest or a crop harvest, for me to exchange that for everything that I need, because not everybody that I'm exchanging it to will need what I am exchanging. So I need a medium of exchange. I need something that I can convert into, that way I can go buy the things that I need, and goods and services can be traded that way. Money functions just that way. We all right now accept dollars or cash and things like that in exchange for whatever product or services we're needing or buying. Even as a gold and silver person, a person who owns it, holds it, stores it, will continue to do so. I still have to have cash to go, fill up my car. But we're going into a world that is swiftly going away, where it takes more and more dollars to do less and less things, less and less accomplishments, less and less purchases. So as that store of value goes down, you will see gold and silver continue to rise. And basically what that story is telling you is that not that gold and silver is getting, more expensive. It's just telling you that the dollars that you're holding are getting more and more worthless. And at the end of the day, that's what you need to get out of. That's what you need to flee from. Getting into a store of value that will hold up over time. One that doesn't just have me giving it a biblical mandate. It is a biblical mandate of store of value. It's very clear that both in the book of Proverbs and in other passages that it says that God hates a dishonest weights and measures and scales. In other words, things that are manipulated, things that are not really what they purport to be. I would say the fiat currency system is one of those things. It loses value over time. If I work a hard day's work and I get paid $100, $200, $500, $1,000, maybe I'm had a really good day and I made $10,000. If I were wanting to save that for a later time and I were to put it in a safe at home or just stick it in a vault somewhere, those dollars would do nothing but lose time or lose value over time. However, if I were to take that, $100,000 or $10,000 or $100 and put it into physical precious metals, I would stick that in a vault. And over time, over the horizon, maybe not from day to day or, moment to moment, but over time, I would be able to pull that out and I would see an increase in value. Now, something we will get to in a later show as well is you're going to say, well, silver's volatile, gold goes up and down. And truly that is the case from time to time. But there is a reason behind that. And it's not because it's a volatile metal. It's because there is a paper game that is played with physical precious metals. When I hold physical precious metals, either in a storage or in my hands, I am holding that value. That value is very stable. But if I am going to a paper market and I'm trading it up and down, that value can shift quite a bit. But I can tell you, even as that value seems very volatile, when I'm going to buy precious metals, physical gold, physical silver, that value does not shift near as much as the paper market would say that it does. So we have to break down the strongholds in our minds and in our thought processes and around our finances of this is real value, because real value is very quickly going the way of the dodo bird, as they say. This is a moment where the U.S. dollar, the petrodollar, is exiting stage left, and there's going to be a fight for what comes next. But I can tell you, everything is going to be based on some level in gold, and that will be the transitionary value, store of value that will get you from this side of the chaos to the other side of the chaos. And with that, I thank you for joining me here on Kairos Radio for this inaugural show. I look forward to the next time we get to speak. We'll be uncovering more things and doing more. And God bless. Have a great week.